I'd like to call this a regular meeting at 6 p.m. for the city of San Juan. May we rise for invocation? Mr. Arjona, can you lead us, please?
Bow our heads. Dear Lord, thank you for your blessings. We pray that this meeting is successful, productive, and blessed. Guide us during our discussions. Give us wisdom concerning the issues that we face. Thank you for being our source of guidance. We give you the glory for what we accomplish. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Palmira, public comments? No, okay.
Yes, good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, public. The first item on the agenda is presentations. We have presentations on departmental reports. We have Municipal Court, Police Department, Department of Utilities, Fire Department, Department of Finance, and of course, City Manager's report. If there's any questions, everybody's here to answer anything that may need to be answered.
Chief, again, I brought up right now that the accident that happened this week with, well, that bike accident, accident or whatever the investigation is going on, but on Thursday nights, we had that cruising night that I think we put away to it. Slowly, I see it coming back. Is that the case, or what's going on there?
Yes, that's the case. We always try to minimize the traffic on Thursdays. Based on our operations and based on the personnel, every other week, or when we start getting more calls, we get different groups of people showing up on Thursdays, and they do cause a traffic hazard for us. They impede a lot of traffic in a lot of residential areas there. People call us up, so we try to enforce it as much as we can, and we try to also use some social media to let people know that it's not allowed in the city. So with the help of the constable's office, the help of DPS and other agencies, that they sometimes help us out too, so we can try to diffuse that traffic congestion there that we get on Thursdays. So some of it is innocent, individuals just driving around, but there's issues there that we come across that. So we have had some narcotic issues people that we stop. So we try to enforce it as much as we can. So our best thing that we're doing is we try to inform the public, and those people specifically, we try to make contact with them, and we let them know that it's not allowed in the city of San Juan. They're going to create a hazard here, and they have done that. So for the past couple of years, we're trying to minimize it, but it keeps on coming. Every 2-3 weeks slows down, and then another group of individuals show up and start cruising in our streets. So it's just something that we try to work every other Thursday.
Chief, on the stops that you all do, or when you all respond and you all do pull over some of these vehicles, San Juan kids? Or are they from elsewhere?
There's some from San Juan and many from other different agencies. It's just they promote it. They're going to hang out here in San Juan, cruise night, and there's a lot of vehicles come here, and we got different car clubs and different types of sporting trucks and stuff like that. So we just try to make contact with them. We tell them it's not allowable here. So we try to make contact with our business owners and our residential owners, let them know that, for them not to allow them to park in those parking lots, because that's what they're doing. They're parking in the parking lots of the businesses, and the businesses are allowing it. So we're trying to let them know, as long as you keep on allowing this, we can't control it. So we had some incidents that we have made some arrests, and usually on every Thursday night that we work, we have some arrests. We stop people and we arrest people for either under the influence, possession of narcotics, or reckless driving, or outstanding warrants and stuff like that.
I'd like to follow up. Chief, I know that we have to request for assistance. How often do you have to submit a request?
It all depends on the calls for service that we're getting, Commissioner, as to, we're getting a lot of traffic there, so depends on the officers. They're the ones that see it. Sometimes we don't see a lot of traffic on Thursdays. Sometimes we do, so the officers then say, we're getting the cruisers back coming to San Juan, so we make an operation and we try to work it in. Obviously we need assistance from the constable's office and DPS, but they also have their own operations going on, so.
Right.
I mean,
And I ask because I know in April, they assisted every Thursday of the month.
Correct.
But then I know it's based on funding. If we can submit another request and see if we can come
Yes,
out
we
with-
can, we can. do
Thank
it.
you, Chief.
Mr. Arjona?
Yes.
In reference to the street projects, how are we going on that, sir?
And I wanted to report on that, Mayor, Commissioners, we have a couple of street projects that are currently taking place. The first one is the Urban County 2016 project, which is the Capri subdivision, which is Coconut, Pulling, Hooper, and Salazar Streets. The Hidalgo, it was taken over to the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court today for approval. If it's approved, which I didn't hear back from the people here in Alamo, we're looking at, more than likely, within a couple of weeks, the contractor will sign the contract, and then right after that, we're looking at about maybe July 10, July 17, they'll start they will get a notice to proceed on this particular project. So we're looking at hopefully mid-July with a notice to proceed on these particular streets. And then the repaving project Phase 1, as it says there, back in April the 19th, that's when we went out for bids. The pre-bid conference was held on Tuesday, May the 2nd, and the repaving project started yesterday. So we started yesterday, Cancun, Puerto Vallarta, and what's the other street behind it, sir? I know it's Cancun, Puerto Vallarta, and Veracruz. We started that yesterday. They're currently working on that, and then shortly after that, they will go to Valencia Village, if I'm not mistaken. That'll be the other subdivision that the contract is going to start on the repaving of the Phase 1 of the project. And then the last part that I have, Mayor, Commissioners, is the 4th of July. Again, to remind everybody that everybody's currently invited to this free event. It'll be 4th of July celebration on Saturday, July the 1st at the park. It's a fireworks display. There's going to be entertainment, music, and bring your own barbecue pit. So everybody's welcome and invited to this event. And that's, I don't have anything else.
I have a question for Mr. Salinas. I know there was a notice issued about water conservation.
Yes, Commissioner. We issued a notice.
Come over.
All right. Yeah, we issued the notice because of the current heat wave and the construction that's going on at the water plant. We're right at that stage where we have to take the plant offline to do some critical connections. In fact, tonight, 11 o'clock, we'll be shutting down the plant for 4 hours to tie in the new high-service manifold system that's being installed so the high-service pumps the new ones can start working once they they install the new ones.
And
So.
is that going to affect our residents?
No, the water towers are all full. That's why we're doing it so late in the evening. That's why we initiated that, because there was a lot of watering being done because of the heat wave. These current rains have actually helped us, so we've been able to speed up the process, but we'll be doing this throughout the rest of the construction period. The water conservation stage 2 will be in effect until December. Now, if the plant gets finished sooner and we have full capacity of the plant, then we might rescind the notice sooner. But for now, we're asking the residents to curtail their water use, preferably not to water within the hours of 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., and only water on their designated days. So basically, everybody north of the expressway can water on Tuesdays and Fridays, and everybody south of the expressway on Mondays and Thursdays, and from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. in the morning. Of course, we also ask don't water the entire period, because you might just be wasting water by running down the field, down the street. So we have been going to the different residents and passing out a notice, as well as utility billing. As people come in and pay their bills, they're stapling the notice to everybody who's coming in.
Is the city held to the same
Yes, sir.
restrictions?
In fact, I've been working with Mr. Patrick
Okay.
Willingham on the parks. We do have some exceptions that for athletic fields to prevent injuries to the athletes. So they're allowed to water a little bit more. We prefer that they don't do it as well through between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., but instead of limiting them to 1 day, we're allowing them to water 3 days out of the week, but also early in the morning or late in the evenings so that the water doesn't evaporate.
I know that I think at the fire station or at the police department, they're on a timer, I guess, because the sprinklers go off.
Yes, sir.
And there's a lot of water going onto the street.
Yes,
So I don't know if they can take a look at the,
Yes, we had some issues with boxes that we addressed today. I met with staff.
okay.
So we've shut them down and make sure that we're not turning them on until we get that addressed and give them some instructions that Dave sent out so that we water at the appropriate times. But we took care of that issue today.
Thank you.
The next item that I have, Mayor Commissioner, is a presentation on the National Night Out 2017. Crime Stopper Division in Chief.
Evening, Mayor,
Good evening, sir.
City Council. We're here just to promote our annual night out, which will be held August the 5th from 6 to 10 at the Mayfield Park, located at 1419 South San Antonio. It's our annual event. That's where the neighborhoods come out and they can mingle around and talk to each other and pretty much share ideas and keeping our neighborhood safe. We do it every year. What we do, San Juan does it a little bit different, and we kind of promote the youth. We get the schools involved. So this is a time when we give out school supplies. So Parks and Rec, I think they're gonna be showing a movie that night as well. We'll be giving away raffle bikes. There will be music, and we did invite our local agencies as far as, and as well our federal agencies and our state partners to this event.
Yes, Mayor Commissioner, I just want to add that we invite the public and you all, to attend our National Night Out. It's been a very successful event throughout the years, and I just want to thank our officers for coordinating this and the citizens for allowing us and the people that participate with us, school district, other law enforcement agencies, the community itself, and a lot of the nonprofit organizations that help us out. But it's a night for us to give out the school supplies for returning students going back to school, but also it's a time and place so we can make a connection with them and continue our efforts with them and let them know that law enforcement is a friend to them. And this past year has been a very hardened year for a lot of the communities, and we understand that. So I think that by doing this, it just brings us closer to the community. And I appreciate you, Mayor, and the commission for allowing us to do this. And we welcome the new commissioners, also to attend as well. Thank you.
Is Walgreens one of the biggest contributor still, or I remember last year they donated, I don't know how many backpacks, right? Am I correct, or?
Yes, so Walgreens, Walmart, Mercedes-Benz, some individuals also from out of the area as well also are contributors, the school districts, schools, and we got some private donors as well that they donate stuff for us as well.
Spirit Trucking, Concrete Ready Mix, they've always helped us out every year. Again, they're one of our sponsors. Walmart, HEB will be there, Walgreens will be there. And what happened last year is that Walgreens was very kind to give us the backpacks at cost. That's how we were able to obtain 1,000 backpacks.
Is there any way you can inform the public as far as if anybody that's out there listening, on the web, how they can reach you guys and maybe donate if they want to?
Yes, they can reach me at 956-249-2020 and or at
325-5557.
They can also email us. We do have a sponsor letter. We are tax exempt, so anything y'all contribute, you can go ahead and file it with the IRS as well. But we've been meeting with a lot of people, and a lot of people are we've been having checks come in. So we've been fortunate enough.
If they can send us information, Mayor, what we can do is post it on our webpage, Facebook, with your phone number and name and whatever we need so that we
We
can
will do that.
advertise as well.
Yes, also, I just want to make sure that it's not the agenda, but I want to congratulate the San Juan Crime for helping us this, and also they have become, they just became certified as a program in the state of Texas. We are one of the very few programs in, here in the Rio Grande Valley that are certified San Juan Crime Stoppers. And basically what that does is that now we get fees donated to us through the probation office and stuff like that. And we've been working on this for 10 years. So, we just want to, I know that we got some San Juan Crime Stoppers board members here. Y'all want to stand up real quick? I just want to thank them for the hard work they've been doing. It is an honor for us to have,
Can you introduce their names for us?
was it?
Their names, Chief?
Yes. Ms. Ramirez, thank you. You have anybody else here? And of course, our coordinator, Carlos Ramos, has been doing this for quite a while, and Eli Lopez, officers here, they dedicate a lot of their off time to this program. But San Juan Crime Stoppers has been a great program for us, and I'm just very proud that we have the San Juan Crime Stoppers board here with us, and they've been able to get this program certified. So it is a great honor for the San Juan Police Department, and it's something great for the city of San Juan that we finally got this program certified, and we're one of the very few in the areas.
Great job.
Good job.
guys. Good job.
Chief.
Thank you.
Moving on, contractual and resolutions, consideration and approval of the city's plan of finance pertaining to the contemplated issuance of obligations to be designated as City of San Juan, Texas Waterworks and Sewer System Revenue Bonds, Series 2017, authorizing the city staff and the city's financial advisor and bond counsel to proceed with the plan of finance and authorizing other matters related to the foregoing. We have with us Mr. Chris Vela that will give us a presentation on the plan of finance. This is for the First and Water Sewer Connects. There's over 100 residents that are in dire need. And finally, we're getting this approval, so Mr. Vela will give us a presentation on the plan of finance.
Presentation in front of you. I don't know if it got uploaded. We'll start on page 2 with an executive summary. The Texas Water Development Board in Austin on May the 31st unanimously approved financial assistance in the amount of $2,285,000 in the form of a subsidized loan, 1.55% below market interest rates, in order to fund a collection system extension number 2. The City of San Juan, Texas, the city will sell waterworks and sewer system first lien revenue bonds, Series 17, to the Water Development Board. They will be the purchaser. The city has offered a pledge of a first lien on the net revenues of the waterworks and sewer system as sufficient security for the repayment of the debt. The bonds will be structured with level debt service payments over a 30-year period. No utility rate impact or negative debt payment coverage implications are projected by this issuance at all. On page 4 of the presentation, it's the current market index on the bond buyer index on a 20-year bond revenue bonds. And we have the current rate of a 370 and the 20-year minimum, which was a 298. So you can see we're not that much above the all-time current low. And besides that, the Water Development Board uses the MMD scale at your rate and deducts the 155 that we mentioned before. On page 6, under the plan of finance, under the sources of funds, $2,285,000 from the sale of the bonds to the Water Development Board. We'll fund the project fund to the tune of $2,185,000. Cost of issuance, $58,495. Origination fee to the Water Development Board, $41,505. Total usage, $2,285,000. The estimated subsidized interest rate on the bonds for 30 years, 1.92%. First interest payment, 1/1/218. First principal, 1/1/219. Final maturity, 1/1/247. Average annual debt service, 219 through 47, $101,000. Water and sewer system revenue debt coverage, 273 times. Utility rate impact, 0. The additional bonds test is the 1 1/4 of the net revenues over the average annual debt service of the parity bonds. Based on the pro forma calculation in the following slide, the additional bonds test is satisfied. On the next page, on page 7, you see the actual cash flows. Starting with column B on your left, we have the gross revenues of the system for 17 ended. You have the operating expenses of the system, and you have the net revenues. Then you have the outstanding senior debt, you have the GO debt, and the total outstanding system debt. So it's a little bit over, a little under $1 million in payments all the way through 25, and then it drops to 672 in 26. The boxed is the actual issuance, and you see the debt service there, which increases it by approximately $100,000. Column K gives you the total debt, and then the surplus cash flow after the repayment of the debt, and then the aggregate debt service coverage. That means all of your debt put together you have compared to your net revenues. If you divide the net revenues by column K, that should be the coverage. Normally, the bonds, the coverage here is 1 1/4 average annual, so this is way above the required. So the system is in good shape. Moving on to page number 9, schedule of events. On the first item is on 6/27, the commission reviews TWDB funding program, plan of finance, and time frame. On the 29th of June, deadline to submit draft copies of bond ordinance, bond council opinion, deadline to submit draft plan, private placement. And then 40 days after that, on 8/15, we will come back with a pricing where the Water Development Board will give us the actual rates on the bonds per maturity, and the board will approve. It's estimated then, moving on to the actual closing, that we would be closing on September the 26th.
Excuse me, sir. On the August 15, 2017, you mentioned about the ratings, right? The ratings, the concrete number, would that be concrete? On page 9 right now, that you mentioned on the pricing of waterworks and sewer systems.
Okay, the rates.
Yes,
In other words, we're not talking about sewer rates, we're talking about the actual rates on the bonds.
yeah, got you.
We would get those from the Water Development Board, we would put them together and bring them for approval for the commission.
And would that be a set number, or?
Yes, sir, it's a fixed rate and it's level, it's not a variable rate.
That was my question.
There you go.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chris.
I'm sorry. Mr. Arnold Cantu, the bond attorney, is here. He may want to talk in terms of some of the bond documents. Arnold?
Mayor, City Commission, for the record, Arnold Cantu of Norton Rose Fulbright Bond Counsel. I don't really have anything further to add as far as the financial side. I'll defer to Mr. Vela. The document that is presented today on the legal side is simply a plan of finance resolution. It just formalizes the action of approving this presentation that Chris gave and allowing us, bond counsel, financial advisors, and certain members of city staff, including the city manager, to move forward and work with the Water Development Board toward the pricing and sale of these bonds. So if you have any questions afterward, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any questions for Mr. Vela or Mr. Cantu in reference to this item on the agenda? If not, is there a motion to approve? Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
The next item, discussion and possible actions on all of the following matters. A, staff is requesting authorization to use surplus funds in the Series 2007 and 2014 bonds for the purchase and installation of pumps, water and sewer lines, and related appurtenances at the water and wastewater treatment plant and distribution and collection systems. Approval of a budget amendment is needed to transfer funds into the capital fund account and authorize city manager to execute any related documents. Mr. Salinas.
Mayor, Commissioners, good evening. Yes, we're requesting authorization to transfer funds from a refunded 2007 and 2014 bond issuance. There's approximately combined $800,000 in those accounts, and we would like to use them to replace some pumps at the current plant number 1, water plant number 1, and also to do some improvements at the what we call the Trevino Reservoir, which is located on Sergeant Trevino behind the Memorial Park.
Bond has been verified through, yeah?
Yes, I was going to say that these are monies that were surplus
Right, right.
from those two bonds. So it's not going to cost the city any additional monies.
And my understanding from the former finance director is that these funds have to be committed or used before the end of this fiscal year.
Any other questions? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved?
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
The amount of $10,000 out of a record fund balance to Police Department record fund budget. Mr. Gonzalez, Chief.
Yes, Mayor, this is just a request of funding that we already have accumulated in our account, our record account. Basically, what it is that it's a fee that we charge the records for non-consent tolls. Every time they tow a vehicle, they pay us $15 per tow. So that accumulates throughout the year, and we have about 10,300. We're only asking 10,000.
Why do you charge that, Chief? I'm sorry?
It's a law enforcement fee charge.
So they come in, they tow a car, we charge them $15 to tow a car in San Juan?
They pay us 15, the fee that they charge the public. We get paid $15 from the fee that they have to pay for under the record ordinance that was passed back in 1202. So the record in existence was back in 03, and we amended it in 1202 to include the law enforcement fee. And basically, this law enforcement fee is to also to purchase any type of equipment that the department deems necessary for police personnel.
What was the total again, Chief? I didn't quite hear. The
Was it-
total that you have on this,
We have about 10,300 or so with change right now that we accumulated last year and this year. So we just requesting to use that to purchase some necessary radio equipment that we need and minor equipment that to finish off the year.
And the equipment is this that's attached?
How's that?
Is this the equipment that's already attached here?
Yeah, there's some equipment, yes, and some additional equipment that we're waiting for some quotes here, but that's the equipment that we're asking for.
any other questions for Chief Gonzalez? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved?
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Commission.
The next one is consider the approval of a budget amendment in the amount of $20,000 from account 10.540.1051 Fall Spring employees to cover expenses in the Pony Baseball. Mr. Willingham, Director, Parks and Rec.
Good evening, Mayor, Commission. Yes, this monies is monies that we already have budgeted just under Fall Spring employees. We saw an increase of almost 20% in growth in our softball, baseball program. So that, amount of games, equipment, uniforms, every expense went up. So this is also a line item that I've discussed with finance, where we might need to allot it a little bit differently in the next budget. It's not increasing the amount, it's just allotting it a little bit better, so we don't have to move as much monies. But yes, that'll get us to cover a lot of the expenses we have.
And the teams are still playing in All-Star
Right now, we've got six
16?
teams that advanced to the regional and super regional round. They started yesterday. We've got 4 in baseball and 2 in softball.
Any advancing out of the valley?
We'll find out by Saturday,
This
but I do
Saturday?
anticipate at minimum 2, but it could be as many as 6.
When it go, does this help those that, say we do have teams going out of town?
Okay. the next item will help.
Okay,
This is
Mr.
just-
Williams,
this is just
this
fair
one, the
expenses.
one you're asking for 20,000 to move from one account to the other, are you gonna have enough money to pay for all those expenses?
It'll cover the expenses that this particular line item is at,
For
which
the
is.
spring and the fall?
We've already finished the spring and fall. So
Okay.
these were surplus monies
So they're
in
surplus.
that account that we're just moving over to cover existing expenses. right
Okay.
now.
Any other questions for Mr. Willingham? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
The next item is consider the approval of budget amendment in the amount of $6,089 from the general fund to cover uniforms and tournament fees for Pony Baseball. Mr. Willingham.
So this line item here, or this amount, came up from the gate fees that we collected the last couple of weeks in the All-Star tournaments that we hosted, as well as $1,600 of this is sponsorships that came in for the signs that we have up on the fields. So this money, in addition, will help to cover more of the expenses that we had as far as uniforms, and hopefully we'll have a few teams representing San Juan at the World Series in the coming weeks.
$4,000 in gate fees?
For
More
the
or
first
less?
2 weeks. We just had one this past week, but it was kind of late to get it in here. So we had another almost $1,500 in gate fees that we collected as well this past week. So.
What
we-
about
we did
the fee that is applied to using that software to register?
Yes, I did look into that, Commissioner. I'm going to have to get a more detailed report. The report we came out with gave us a number. It was a little bit low, I thought, but I wasn't sure, so I'm going to have to cross-reference with finance to make sure we get the correct amount before we make any changes.
So this is just the gate fee and 100, or you said 1,600 in sponsors?
Correct. These were new monies put in, we collected.
Did you
During the
collect it
baseball
for
season.
this time?
Right.
And then you also have that you collected a certain amount for the first tournament, and then in the second tournament, you
The
also
first two
collected gates.
tournaments are in here
Yeah.
as well as 1,600 in
Okay.
sponsorships.
Uh,
What's
I-
not in here is this last week that we just completed.
Okay.
That's
That's
not
not included on
in
that?
here.
Okay, and also what I'm looking at, that you needed to pay some of the employees, umpires, all those helpers, the scorekeepers and all that. Also, you put one that it says that you're gonna be paying for the people that helped you in the concession stand. Okay, so the only thing that I don't see here is you put in the sponsor fees, how much you made at the gates on both tournaments so far, not including the one you just have. I don't see any records on the monies coming in from the concession stands.
Okay, the reason I didn't use concession stand monies, and I can get you that report, if you need it, but the reason I didn't is because we use allotted city funds to purchase stuff from the concession stand. So we offer kind of that as a service. So since we use city funds to purchase and pay for the employees, I didn't really want to.
So you're telling me you're using the money to buy like Cokes, water and drinks, or
Correct.
to sell them all that?
To sell, and then we got to, with that, we've got to pay for those items as well as our employees.
That's fine, you can still get us, how much you're spending, I guess you're probably buying anything from Sam's.
Sure, yes.
Give
breakdown
me
on-
something like
Sure.
that, and just boil it down and send us a little,
Patrick, tournament fees?
yeah.
As in, like, say we're hosting a tournament, there's All-Stars, and are we charging, McAllen comes into play, we're charging every team that comes in a fee for this tournament, or how does that work?
Okay, in All-Star Play, each city or each league pays Pony Baseball participation fee. What we charge them is a daily gate fee when they come to watch the games.
So that's where we
Now,
make our-
at this point, where they're at now in regionals, they're asking for that to be paid up front. It's the same fee that they would pay on a daily basis, they just ask for it up front. But as far as all the participation fees, those get paid at the beginning, before it even starts. You have to pay that to be eligible to play, starting week 1,
The bread and butter is the gate,
the gate.
concession stand?
It does, it varies. I mean, some days are better than others, some weeks are better than others, but the gate is usually especially an all-star player, you're talking about $3 and $2 per person that come in. So,
And on the concession, there's, I guess, a system, record keeping.
oh, yes, yes. We have a breakdown of what we purchased and then what was made.
Okay, it would be great if you would show a report also on
Sure.
that.
I'll get that for you.
Okay.
And just for clarification, Mr. Willingham, where does the money that you make from the concession stand, where does that go? Is it to
Goes
the
back
Parks and
into the
Rec Board?
general fund.
General fund. Not included here because requesting it to be transferred.
I'm not requesting it because it's used, what we purchase and pay the employees is city funds.
Right.
So I didn't want to pull that out and intermingle.
Okay.
These monies are just new monies that we collected
Right, and-
by hosting this tournament and by getting sponsorships. So that can go
And this-
directly towards these teams that are still participating.
And they're not including the tournament this past week?
Correct, that's not.
Great, that's fine.
How often do the sponsors need to renew their,
Yearly. First time, it's 300, and
Yeah.
then it's a $200 renewal,
okay.
because we got to pay for the sign. And
So when is the renewal, like in the fall, or?
it renews in about late January, early February.
Oh,
We start contacting them, so it stays up all year until the new baseball season. And we've got a list of those sponsors that are currently active, and we'll follow up. I think we didn't get too many new ones this year, but that'll be the next phase that we do to try to fill up both parks, well, actually all three.
Okay, I guess for the next, upcoming budget, Mr. Willingham,
Yes.
we need to keep an eye on that, as far as maybe increasing, the amounts
Sure.
to
Sure.
help you out, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I mean, but it's just something that we need to take care of right now, but just up in the future.
I understand.
Okay? Is there any other questions for Mr. Willingham? If not, is there a motion to approve?
Moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
The next item is consent agenda. I'm going to read them all. And then if you'd like to pull any of those agendas, items for discussion. The first one is Agenda A, consider an ordinance in second reading for the conditional use permit for the sale of alcoholic beverages for off-premise consumption at the proposed Oak Barrel Liquor Wine and Spirits Store located at 502 North Veterans Boulevard, legally described as the west 193 feet of the north 162 feet of the south 318 feet of Lot 2, Night Subdivision, as requested by Sharon Garcia. Agenda B, consider an ordinance in second reading for the conditional use permit for the sale of alcoholic beverages for off-premise consumption at H&H Food Mart, store located at 914 West Sam Houston Boulevard, legally described as the west 209 feet of the north 192 feet of Lot 1, Clark, Mellenbrook subdivision, as requested by HH&A Incorporated. Agenda C, consider an ordinance in second reading for a conditional use permit for a recreational facility, soccer field, in a commercial zone property legally described as Lot 2, Jesus Quiroz subdivision located at 2603 North Veterans Boulevard, is requested by Jesus Quiroz. Item D, budget expenditure report from May 31st, 2017, and property tax collection report, item E, May 31st, 2017.
Okay, at this time, is there anything that we need to remove or amend?
I have a question. Why aren't we receiving minutes of the meetings?
Minutes, yes, that's something that we're working on, and by next week, we should be, by the next meeting, I'm sorry, we should be getting some minutes to be approved.
Any other question for Mr. Arjona? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved?
Is there a second?
If we can have I know it's a consent agenda, but if we can just restate the motion that it's approving item A, B, C, D, and E as approval.
Approve consent agenda A, B, C, D, and E.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting has been adjourned at 6:39 PM. Thank you.